Ladies and gentlemen, it is my distinct honor to introduce our next speaker, a trailblazer whose vision and determination have transformed her industry and paved the way for countless others. McNeill, President and CEO of MC Constructions and Service, Inc., is the beacon of success and innovation. For over 40 years, MCO Construction has been a cornerstone of South Florida skyline, contributing to iconic projects like Miami Airlines Arena and the Marlins Ballpark and the Miami International Airport. Under Ann's leadership, this firm has built structures and legacies for excellence and resilience. So now, I introduce to you Ann McNeill, a visionary, entrepreneur, and a champion for change. She's going to take you through moving your business to the next level.
Okay, thank you. Every summit attendee can elevate and navigate to the next level by focusing on three things: the books you read, the people you meet, and give. Can you say that with me? The books you read, the people you meet, and give. One of my favorite authors by the name of Charlie Tremendous Jones says that you and I will be the same in 5 years as we are today, except for two things: the books we read and the people we meet. But one of my other favorite authors by the name of Howard Thurman shares a story. It's actually a story about death. And with your permission, share it with you. Is that okay? Yes. Is that okay? Yes. I need everybody's permission. Is that okay? Yes. All right. Now, what I need everybody to do is to close your eyes. And if you're looking at me and I'm looking back at you, your eyes are not closed. So we're gonna wait for the movement to stop, and we're gonna let everybody who's coming in take their seat. Because for me, this is one of the most important points and moments in my story, and it might be yours. Now, with all eyes closed, hearts opened, imagine that if I can get another microphone, that spirit is a liar. All right, let's try this one. Testing. Now just imagine, all eyes closed, all hearts open, all all minds clear. Just imagine you are lying on your deathbed and standing all around you. They're not your family. They're not your loved ones, not your co-workers, not your boo. But standing all around your deathbed are all of your dreams, all of your hopes, all of your desires. You know, that book you were going to write, that song you were going to sing, that foundation you were going to start, that business you were going to create, that child you were going to educate, that loved one you were going to take care of in their latter days. But all of your dreams and hopes and aspirations are staring at you with their large, angry, angry, angry eyes. And they're saying, we only came to you, Jerry. We only came to you, John Robertson, Starla, Jacqueline. We only came to you. Now, we must all die with you forever. Thank you. Now I need for everybody to please open your eyes. And if everybody can just take a deep breath, inhale, exhale. And I want each of you to think about one dream, one ghost, one idea that was staring at you on your deathbed. Just think of one, just one, just one. And I want you to take a moment and tell the person next to you one thing that was staring at you. Just one. Was it that book? Was it that business? Was it to increase the participation in the city of Chicago? For businesses that look like me. How about that? Well, when I read that story, that was me. When I read that story of Howard Thurman, that was me. You see, I had a dream, but I had not had a dream come true. Can I say that again? I had a dream, but I had not had a dream come true. But the books you read, the people you meet, and give. Give of your time, talents, and resources to organizations like this. Giving of your time, talents, and resources to help civic organizations to do a better blank, whatever that is for you. But I will always remember December 31st, 1979. My husband and friends decided to celebrate the new year. I decided to stay home and read a book. Somebody laughed. Yes, it was like that. I brought my toolbox. Anybody want to guess what's in the toolbox? I'm a contractor. I have tools. Books. Books. Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. Anybody read the book? All right, keep your hands up, keep your hands up, keep your hands up. Anybody allowed the book to read you? Well, that night, December 31st, 1979, at 9 p.m., when my husband and friends decided to go out and celebrate the new year, and I decided to begin to read this book, I allowed the book to read me. And the author gave me 6 steps to riches. And I'm going to give you 4 of those. The first question he asked me, and I want each of you to make this personal, then I'm going to fast forward my story. The first question he asked me, and I want to ask each of you, how much money do you want? No, this is serious. You see, because in order to do business with the city of Chicago, if you don't know how much money you want, how are you going to understand what you're going to do, who you're going to do it for, and how much you're expecting to make? John just told us we need to be able to make enough money to make profit to give. So the author asked me, how much money do you want, Ann McNeill? Put your name in the box. I kept reading. You see, because they're out celebrating the new year, I'm home reading a book. But the second question he asked me was, what are you going to do in return for the money? I kept reading. The third question is, how much money do you want to get by a certain date? Be exact. I kept reading. But when I got to question number 4, he said, what are you going to do exactly to make the money? And where's your plan of action? In that moment, I decided to go back to number 1, which I'm going to ask all of you to do. And I decided to do the exercise, not knowing that this would change my life and the lives of thousands of people in the future. This is the dream coming true. So I went back to question number 1 and I said, how much money do you want, Ann McNeill? $1,000. 1979, that was a lot of money. Second question, he said, what are you going to do in return for the money? I said, I got a good corporate job. I'm going to save the money. Third question, by what date? December 31st, 1980. Fourth question, where's your plan of action? In my mind, I said, I make this much, I spend this much, I got a negative number. Wait, y'all getting ahead of me now, hold up. I decided to write it down. That negative number got bigger. I decided to get my calculator out. The negative number got, some of y'all can relate to this story. That negative number got bigger, and I decided that night, I'm home alone, why don't I pull out all my council checks for the previous year and find out where's the money going? You see, I have an undergraduate degree in accounting, a master's in finance, and I hold 2 general contracting licenses. 100% I own my business. But that night, I took a handmade Excel, this is before computers and before Excel, okay? I made a handmade Excel spreadsheet, date, payee, amount, and where was the money going? January a negative, February a negative, March a negative, April, that's right, all the way to November a negative. I decided that night that I was going to do something about this. Why? Because how could I have a good corporate job? How could I have done everything my parents told me to do? Go to school, get a good education, and get a good, wait a minute now, hold up. You see, I am old enough to remember my mom holding my hand riding the back of the bus. But I'm also young enough to benefit from the 1964 Civil Rights Act. It gave me the right to work in corporate. So my parents told me to go to school, get a good education, get a good corporate job, not just a job. So I did that. So why was I so deeply in debt and no possible way of getting out? You see, that night I realized I was climbing the ladder of success in corporate, only to find that my ladder was leaning against the wrong wall for me. And I had to come down off that ladder and face the woman in the mirror and do something different in order to have something different. So I began to do the math. What if I got a part-time job? What What if I started a business? Now it's 4 o'clock in the morning. The door opens and my husband and friends are just coming out back from celebrating the new year. I'm sitting there crying. And for the fellas and the guys in the room, he thought that I was crying over him. It's 4 o'clock in the morning. Ladies, I let him. But the next morning I got up and I continued to read this book. And then I came upon the principle in the book called the Mastermind Principle. And very simply it said, find a group of people who are like-minded and like-spirited and serve as an accountability on each other and help them solve their problem and let them help you solve yours. Now let me fast forward this story and get to what we came to talk about. I stand here today before you as the first black female contractor in the state of Florida operating at the level that I do as a small business, focusing on billions in programs, not projects, and millions. All because of having a dream. We're talking about networking to elevate our businesses. Networking to elevate our businesses. You see, I began to realize that just because I had all of these degrees without having a desire and a dream for exactly what I wanted, it meant absolutely nothing without a plan. People will go out of their way to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. The books you read, the people you meet, and give. I will always remember when I started my business. I'm still a very small business, but a very profitable one now. But when I started my business in construction, I knew absolutely nothing about the business. So I went to trade school, and then I began to study to show myself approved in this industry. But not just studying the business of construction, but studying the business of business. Because I contend we're in 5 different businesses. We're in the business of our craft. We're in the business of the business of the business of the business of the operations of that business. We're also in the business of the relationships of that business. And we're in the business of the relationships of the industry. And we're also in the business of money. Can I say that again? The business of money, the business of your industry, the business of the relationships, the business of the operations of the business that you're in, and then the business of your craft. And are you an expert in each one of those? Can I see the hands that say yes? Not enough hands. Well, I will always remember it was an opportunity in my hometown for me as a small business who had been traveling to Miami 2 hours one way and back to West Palm Beach. And I began to look for an opportunity to build in my own hometown. You see, I'm a small business and I don't bond and I don't finance. I focus on billion-dollar programs. But it was not always that way. So I found an opportunity. It was $20 million in my hometown. And I identified a white contractor, lived in another city, and I called him up and I said, listen, can you partner with me in a mentor protege? He said, no, wait. It's a hard bid. We don't need to partner with you on a hard bid. We're either low or we're not. You see, people will do business with people they know, like, and trust. And what I knew is that that kind of business you don't talk about over the phone. So I said, listen, can I fly out to see you? He said, sure. I went to see him, sat down to convince him to partner with me on this $20 million project. He said, no, let me bring in my chief estimator, my business development person, and see how we can do this, but I don't think it's going to work. So they all came in, and the guy estimated, his name was Brian. He had a cup, snuff cup, if any of you old enough to remember that. Yes, I said that. He spit in that cup, he slammed it on the desk, and he said, we don't need her. We don't need her. We're either low or we're not, but we don't need her. I looked right at the president and I said, listen, you're a businessman. I know we can win this. He looked at them. He said, I believe her. We're going to do this. We bid that project and came in number 6 out of 12. Number 6 out of 12. No, wait. Story hasn't started yet. So I said to him, when they opened the bids, I took my sheet of paper, this is before computers. I listed every contractor that was underneath me and every item that they were supposed to dot that I and cross that T. And I said, we won. Everybody laughed. He said, wait. What is that you don't understand about being number 6? We're not 2nd, 3rd, 4th, or 5th. You don't win on a hard bid. Charlotte, number 6. You don't win at number 6 on a hard bid. No, you don't. Unless you know how to count. And you see, traveling to Miami all those years, I learned how to count. Come on, somebody. And I needed to count to 4. So he left. He said, listen, we're going to go on and we're going to finish other projects and continue to bid. You're on your own. 9 months later, we won that bid. Thank you. Thank you. Now, I share that story because right here in the city of Chicago, you know that people will go out of their way to do business with people that they know, that they like, and they trust. But you have to understand, what is it that you do so well that people know you, like you, and trust you well enough to want to do business with you? And also, who are you bringing with you? Because you see, one of the reasons why we won that project, not only because I knew how to count, but because I invited and included all of my friends who had never in the history of my city ever worked on a project for the public sector before, ever. So once we won that project, I went back to that contractor. And I said, guess what? There's another project in Miami I'd like for us to bid it also as a joint venture. They said, here we go. We went after the project. Now it's an RFP. Everybody knew the project was promised to somebody else. Can anybody relate to that? Come on, somebody. Come on. But guess what? I'm a praying woman, but I work like it all depends on me, and I pray and have faith like it all depends on God. And I believe that we could win that. I don't care who said what about what. We went to the presentation. There were 5 of us with boards. Anybody remember the big boards you carry in? We're waiting for our turn, and the person who the project was promised to was presenting in front of us, but he was already in by the time we came to the lobby. So we're standing there, 5 of us, all in suits, stilettos. He walks out of the presentation in khakis, a pink polo shirt, and some boat shoes, by himself, proud. Just like that, and he nodded at us. Looked and thought, there's no way we're going to win this. But God, you must know how to count, because people will go out of their way to do business with people that they know, like, and trust. And when we walked in and I looked at the selection committee, my partners knew absolutely nobody. I knew 3 out of the 5. Come on, somebody. And we won. My last story, and I will open for questions. I live in West Palm. I follow billions of dollars of opportunities because I find it's easier to get in the deal than to bid a project. Can anybody relate to that? Okay, thank you. So in my city, the state of Florida was going after what they call the bullet train. And I got ahead of it in looking at the opportunity to partner with the firm. I followed that project for a year. I called that contractor engineering firm for 1 solid year every single Monday. We're talking about marketing and networking, right? How do you take your business to the next level? Are you willing to make that call over and over and over again and get no after no after no after no after no, year after year after year? The guy never answered. But then I heard that the state was having an outreach and an industry meeting. I called, I got the details. I got there 2 hours early, just so that I can have an opportunity to meet this person who was over this program that was going to be bidding and was probably going to win. And just like this young man is sitting here, I asked the organizers, did they know this person? They said yes. I asked them if they would introduce me to him, that they would point him out when he walked in. They said yes. As soon as he walked in, 90 minutes later, they pointed to him. He sat right here. I'm in the back and I'm watching. I'm waiting. I'm pacing back and forth. Once he laid his things down, I came from the back, I laid my things. He's sitting right where you're sitting. I put my things right next to his seat right there. When the program was getting ready to start, but you can see him about, how tall am I roughly? Well, in my eyes, I'm 12 feet, but anyway, I'm 5 feet even. That man had to be 6'9", no joke. He sat in his seat. I walked down the aisle. I extended my hand to introduce myself, and his eyes went where? Straight to what? My name badge. Say it. One more time. Went straight to my name badge. He went down on one knee. He said, I am so sorry to call you back. "52 weeks, every single Monday like clockwork, I called him. He went down on one knee, took my hand, looked right up at me, and said, I'm sorry, what can I do? I said, I just want in the deal. He said, all right. Fluor won that project. Now, my governor canceled the project. That's not the point I'm making. The point I'm making is persistence, but networking to take your business to the next level. Because what that did was it set me up inside of Fluor for years to be on all the deals that I wanted to be on, and I was. Thank you. I'm going to wrap up with this. We talked about the books you read, the people you meet, and give. I gave 4 steps from the book Think and Grow Rich. And if you're interested in the other 2 or getting what I just shared, you can text me to the number 59925. You can text the number 59925. And right in the chat, just put the word ANN, A-N-N. The number again is 59925, and just put ANN in the chat, and I'll send that to you. Give. Give of your time, your talents, and your treasure to worthwhile causes. I am also the founder of the National Association of Black Women in Construction. And each of these businesses behind me, and I'll just move for a second, as the founder of MCO Construction, which is a company of our own, general contracting business. I'm also the owner of MCO Consulting, where we do outreach, monitoring, and compliance for private and public sector firms that work on public sector land. But I'm also the founder of the National Association for Black Women in Construction, and the founder of the International Mastermind Association from this book, Think and Grow Rich, where we help elevate individuals and families to the next level with the mastermind concept. And then finally, a professional speaker, Constructively Speaking, is my speaking brand, where I do coaching and consulting in the speaking space. Now, I shared that to come back to the idea of the National Association for Black Women in Construction. We're in 15 cities across the United States. Chicago is one of the newest areas where we're forming a chapter. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I share that because there's no city, yes, I said it, there is no city like Chicago. Wait, I don't think you understand. We have chapters and a presence in New York, in my city, all over the United States. But there's no city like Chicago. I don't think you understand. No, one more time. I just left Atlanta at the National Minority Contractors Association to come here. And because of Jackie, I think I've been here 6 times in the last 12 months. Thank you. You're welcome. And so I have committed myself, if you would stand please, Josie, Camille. And if there are any other NABWIC members in the audience that I've missed, Jerry Harris, thank you, Jerry. Sharon Hidalgo, can y'all give these ladies a round of applause, please? Thank you, thank you. I'm gonna end with this word from Dr. William Blakely. He said, "Give without remembering, and receive without forgetting." Thank you so very much for allowing me to be here.
We're going to have a few questions. Okay. If you have a question please feel free.
Hi, Ann. Right here. So, hi, I'm Ariel Reed. I am a contract compliance specialist for the Chicago Housing Authority.
Yes.
And I'm fascinated by your story. I wanted to know, when you first started, I know you were originally working a corporate job and you went into trades. How did you balance that?
Thank you so very much for the question. I start with a story. I worked in corporate, but I lived in a neighborhood that was having a transition. And came home from work one day, and my husband said, now he graduated valedictorian, I graduated thank you, Lordy. So he told me, he said, one day I came from work, we had bought our house and bought the house across the street. And he said, you know, if I had it to do all over again, I would not go to college. I was shocked. I said, you're kidding? He said, no. I said, what would you do? He said, I'd go to trade school and I'd start a business. And I said to him, why would you do that? Who wants to go into construction? He said, listen, I did the math. He said, the guys who come in here and they give us estimates, they didn't finish high school, many of them, because I talked with them. But what they did was they went to a trade school and they make more in 1 hour. Now he's talking to me, than you make on that corporate job.
Yep. You're right.
Can I say that again?
Yeah.
He said they make more in an hour than you make in a day on that corporate job. So I'm a little slow, but I did the math quickly. And I realized that if I, while working on a master's degree, could also go to trade school while working on a master's degree, that I could learn the business of construction and start my own business. So I just very slowly, see, we have, and this for all of us, we have 3 sets of 8s. With 8 hours to work, 8 hours of sleep, and then an extra 8 to do whatever it is you want to do. But we must choose how we will invest that 3rd set of 8. Thank you.
Hi, how you doing, Ann? My name is Ahmad Hassan. Appreciate you for being here and sharing all the knowledge. Actually came by from Detroit. Might make the move to Chicago, honestly, hearing everything going on. Well, I have a 2-part question. One, before you went to the 20 million contract or bid that you were looking for, where did you start? Where did you focus on?
Great
and then
question.
I do have one more piece.
Yes.
If you're looking for mentees or joint ventures, would love to connect as well.
Absolutely. Join the National Association of Black Women in Construction. You get me 24/7. Absolutely. My transition was when I started at trade school, I started volunteering. That's why I say the spirit of service. I started volunteering for black contractors, but they wouldn't pay me. But does anybody know what happened with brothers on a Friday that work in the trades? Anybody know what happens? Anybody want to take a chance or a stab at that? Say it again, sir, in the back. Yes. Did everybody hear what he said? Tequila time. Friday nights, those brothers didn't go to work on Saturday. And so I found that I got a lot of calls from a lot of brothers, can you come and help me with this roof? Can you come and help me with different, and I would volunteer. So my transition started by learning the trade. But then I decided to take a leave of absence from my corporate job and volunteer to do the business of learn the business of construction. Because the benefit that I had was I had the undergraduate degree in accounting. I was working on a degree in finance. So I knew business, but I did not know the trades. So by working in a construction company, it gave me an opportunity to learn both. So I started small, just small jobs, working for other people, and then the riots happened in Miami, and it was torn. And from Atlanta, a contractor by the name of Thacker Construction came to Miami, and I decided to approach him about working for him, and I took a 50% cut in my salary. Yes, and my husband thought I was crazy. My friends laughed. Now, that's been 45 years ago. Who's laughing now? All right. So thank you for the question. Yes, anybody else? Yes, ma'am. Oh, yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, thank you, Ann, for your comments and your sharing of your expertise. My name is Bruce Montgomery. I work for the state of Illinois, and I work in equity and inclusion that relates to contracting opportunities for small business. If you were speaking to people like me that are involved in government and procurement activities, what are some of the things you would like to see us do to create more lanes of opportunities for businesses like yours and others?
Now, this was not a setup question. Can I see the hands of those of you that were a part of the EIP signing here at Chicago 2 weeks ago on Friday? One person. Oh, yes, you were there. I recognize you, yes. Hope Church. I flew here for one day to participate in the signing of the EIP for Chicago Transit. I would encourage you, sir, and everybody else who is here to look into what is happening with the Equity and Infrastructure Project with Phil Washington, and he's shaking his head, because what it does, and you can Google it while I'm talking, because this is the first time in my life that I ever saw 10 different presidents 10 different presidents of engineering firms and construction firms signing an agreement that basically said that they are willing to allow a small business to be a prime to work in your agency, and they would sub back to them. I call it 40 acres and a mule. They call it, anybody familiar with the infrastructure bill? Anybody familiar with Justice 40? Well, this is the implementation of Justice 40 to answer his question. But if we're not familiar with it, then we don't know how to implement it. That's the first suggestion. The second suggestion I would make is that there is a program called a miscellaneous contract. We use it in Miami International Airport, and I've been there for 42 years. And basically what it does, as opposed to breaking down the projects, and some people may not like this, but instead of breaking down the projects, the small ones, they bundle it together. Thank you, sir. Thank you. They bundle it together and they award it to a construction manager. Now, the benefit that that would give you, especially like in water and also in aviation, wherever you have small contracts, it would allow you to have an opportunity to have what's called supportive services. You see, one of the challenges many of us have as small businesses is that we're not bonding, we're not financing, and there's nobody who's hand-holding us through the process. And oftentimes we have to learn on our own. But these agencies, what you can do is you can look at combining those, and I can talk to you about this afterwards and give you some samples we've used in Miami Airport in particular. And we're talking to other agencies across the U.S. about this. But what it will do, it will have a construction manager, and the small firms would bid to the construction manager as opposed to bidding directly to the agency. And this will allow them not to bond because that CM is already bonding that project. And it's $50 million minimum. And what that does is that it is big enough to keep out the small contractors. But it's also small enough to keep away the larger firms and engineering firms who look at that as too small for them. So those are just a couple of ideas that I would suggest you may want to consider to implement, to make it, and you don't need any particular laws or anything to do that, but the EIP and a miscellaneous contract. Thank you for the question. Yes, ma'am. Yes,
folks, we got time for one or two more questions before we move on to our next presentation.
Thank you, everybody. Let me leave that number again, 59925, if you want to connect with me, 59925. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning.
Yes.
My name is Melissa Chinwa, Melissa Chinwa Enterprises. I am a pre and post construction, and I also do construction. When you were telling your story, you talked about the degrees you have. I have 3. I left my job. I've been doing construction. I just haven't been able to get over the hump. Now, not saying I'm not working, but there's something I'm not doing. And I listen to you, and the NABWIC, I want to get in that. I want to be involved because
we have a booth.
Okay, great.
We
because
have a booth.
I need to get over it, but I'm there.
We have a booth.
Thank you so much.
You.
Hey, Charlotte.
All right, folks, this will be our last question that we have for Ann. Once again, please give her a round of applause for being with us today. If you have additional questions for Ann throughout the day, she does have a table in our exhibition hall. I'm sure she'd be glad to answer any additional questions you have. But we're going to wrap it up here with one final question.
Thank you.
Great speech, and quite motivating. My name is DC the Mad Hatter. I own an apparel merchandising company. And my question is, who was your biggest role model and why?
Wow, I would say Dorothy I. Heights. Dorothy I. Heights. Thank you. Oh, and why? She was one of the founders for the National National Council of Negro Women, but also a very active Delta and president for a long time. And so I looked at the fact when I was pledging Delta that she was one of the very few women that I saw on a national level that ran 2 national organizations, and she became my shero, and that's been over 40-something years ago. Yes, thank you for the question. Thank you.
Thank you once again, Ann McNeill, founder and president of MCO Construction, MCO Consulting.